I didn't know the meaning of hate until the day my grandmother made me sleep outside under the stars. It wasn't the first time she had done it. In fact, it became a routine. I was 10. The ground was cold and the night sound scared me, but my cries didn't matter. She had no love for me. My mother died when I was 7, and after that, I was sent to live with my father's mother. From day one, she looked at me like I was something filthy. My father barely visited, and when he did, he never stayed long. My grandmother, on the other hand, treated me like I was a burden she had been forced to carry. I worked hard in the house, cleaning, fetching water, and cooking, but it was never enough for her. Every mistake led to punishment. Some days she refused to feed me. Other times she'd hit me with whatever she could find, a broom, a spoon, or even her hand. But the worst part was the nights she made me sleep outside. She never did this to her real grandchildren. They were spoiled with soft beds and good food, while I had nothing. I was reminded every day that I didn't belong. When I turned 14, I had enough. I ran away to the city. I didn't know anyone, and I had no money, but anything seemed better than the life I was living. For days, I wandered the streets, begging for food and shelter. It was the hardest time of my life, but I never thought of going back. One day, a man found me sleeping by the roadside. He was older, and he worked at a construction site. He asked me why I was there, and when I told him my story, he didn't say much. But the next morning, he came back and told me I could work for him. I carried bricks, mixed cement, did whatever I was told. The pay was little, but I saved every coin. Years passed. I learned more about construction and eventually started working for myself. Small jobs at first, then bigger ones. I never stopped hustling. People in the city started to know me, and soon I had enough to start my own company. I built houses, schools, even roads. Word of my work spread, and my business grew. I became wealthy, not just with money, but with respect. Years later, I returned to my village. I had built a beautiful house for myself and wanted to see the place where it all started. My grandmother was still alive, still living in that same old hut. She didn't recognize me at first. When she did, she looked shocked. I could see fear in her eyes, the same fear she had once planted in me. She tried to speak, but I didn't stay long. I had no need for her words. Life had already taught me what I needed to know. Sometimes, success is the best revenge, and no one knew that better than I did.